Hi, I'm Jonathan Byrd. This is my podcast, and this is called But and Bin, an example of Scottish humor. Now, the Scottish sense of humor is literary, historical, dark, playful, and all-pervasive. As my one and only example, I present a strip bar in Edinburgh called Burke Hare. Now, warning, this story will include grave robbing, murder, sexual innuendo, and that's not even the dark side. Seriously, there are plenty of things to read and listen to on the internet. Okay, you dirty rascal. I knew we'd get along. So the name Burke Hare seems respectable enough in as much as it sounds like a law firm or some financial institution, similar to the American euphemism gentleman's club. We can rest assured that there are no gentlemen in the club, and Burke Hare are not public defenders. They are, in fact, 1/3 of Edinburgh's Pubic Triangle, 3 notable points on the city's Euclidean garden of earthly delights. But neither of the namesakes is alive today, and one dramatically not so. Even in death, they need not worry about their reputations being sullied by having their names attached to a strip bar. Their deeds are so despicable that they make the Pubic Triangle seem like the choir loft. Now, William Burke and William Hare were both laborers of Irish descent who moved to Edinburgh in the 1820s. So when a lodger at Hare's house died unexpectedly, leaving the rent unpaid, Burke suggested they take advantage of the fact that that Edinburgh was home to one of the world's leading schools of anatomy at the time, and the fact that there were never enough cadavers to dissect. Indeed, there was a local cottage industry of, quote, resurrection men who supplied more or less fresh cadavers to the school with few questions asked. So Burke Hare filled the man's coffin with bark from a local tanner, and they carried the corpse to the school and sold it for more than enough to cover the rent and their labor. A couple of months later, when one of Hare's lodgers became ill, he and Burke decided that a dead man was better for business than a sick one. So they sedated the renter with whiskey, suffocated him, and sold his body for an even higher price. After that, the men, and likely their wives, needed no further excuses. They would invite mostly single women to drink, suffocate them, and sell their bodies to the medical school. In total, they murdered 16 people before they were caught. Because of the lack of forensic evidence, Hare was offered immunity in exchange for his testimony. The trial was highly publicized, and a new rhyme was circulated. So the most famous teacher of anatomy and most likely the purchaser of the cadavers was Robert Knox, who was known to perform 2 public dissections per day for up to 400 medical students. Up the close and doon the stair, butt and bin with Burke Hare. Burke's the butcher, Hare's the thief, Knox the boy that buys the beef. I'm sure somebody jump roped to that one. A close is an alleyway, so up the close and down the stair. And butt and bin can mean back and forth, or it can refer to a particular kind of 2-room dwelling, which they probably lived in. And as a bonus, bin can be Scots for bone. So at minimum, butt and bin has a triple meaning. So Hare's testimony exonerated Knox and convicted Burke of a single murder. And that was enough for him to be hung in front of a crowd of 25,000, then publicly dissected, during which the professor was said to have written notes with the man's blood. William Burke's skeleton is still at the Edinburgh Medical School, and a wallet made of his tanned skin is on display in the Surgeons' Hall Museum. Excuse me. It still doesn't make a lot of sense to name your strip bar after a couple of murderers, does it? Well, stick with me. So Cockney rhyming slang is not Scottish, but Irish immigrants like Burke Hare may have invented it in densely populated London to keep their conversations private. The way Cockney rhyming slang evolves, the slang may not rhyme at all by the time a phrase becomes popular. So a common slang epithet is Burke, which is short for Berkshire Hunt or Berkshire Hunt, and Hunt, which finally rhymes with part of a woman's anatomy evoked by Edinburgh's Pubic Triangle. Now that you know that, the sound of Burke and Hare brings to mind something altogether different from a law firm. Within it is Edinburgh's history, legend, a rhyme that is still popularly known, and a bit of rhyming slang evocative of the goods they purvey. I told you this was not for the faint of heart. Neither is Scottish history nor Scottish humor. But if you want more of that, come with me in July 2026 on a photographic tour of Scotland. We'll have history, music, beautiful places. It's truly one of the most stunning countries I've ever been. And the famous Scottish sense of humor. It's not too early to sign up for July 2026. There aren't that many nice hotels in Scotland, and they typically sell out a year ahead. Traceless Tours, who we're touring with, is a regenerative tour company, which means we leave the land and the economy better than we found it. So we only have 16 seats, some sold before we even announced the tour. This is the first time I've really publicly announced it. We'll go to the Isle of Skye, Lewis, and Orkney and spend 11 days in one of the most captivating countries in the world. I will leave a link below in the email or on Substack. If you read it there, you can just click on that link. But tracelesstours.com is the website. But the link is a little weird, so you should just click on it or copy it and paste it in your browser. All right. Thanks for listening. Sign up for the tour. It's incredible. 2 years away, plenty of time to plan, and 16 seats. I think 5 have actually sold already before we even announced the tour. People who had toured before said, "Yeah, I want to do that one." So come with us. We'd love to have you. All right. Also, I'm playing the Philadelphia Folk Festival next weekend? Yes, next weekend, August 16th, 17th, and 18th is a festival. I'm playing there with Jess Klein. We're going to do a set together with a band. I'm going to play bass on her songs and sing, and she's going to play bass on my songs. It's cool. We're rehearsing for it tonight. I'm really excited about it. And then I'm doing a songwriter round with a bunch of other great songwriters. It's going to be a great festival. And if you live in the area, please come. All right. Thanks so much. I'm your fan, Jonathan Byrd.